Darren Till versus Dricus Du Plessis is in the works. Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier is now official. And so is Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. I'm going to break down all of these topics and more in today's MMA news reaction video. Starting with Darren Till versus Dricus Du Plessis, the one you really want to hear about. Darren Till, we've been talking about his comeback for quite some time. When is Darren Till going to come back? Who's he going to come back against? He made a call out of Dricus Du Plessis on his Instagram, and it has come true. It's now verbally agreed by both for UFC 282 on December. That's the December pay-per-view card. Paddy Pimblett's going to be on that card as well, so you got the Scouse representatives on that card. I assume it's going to be on the main card as well because this is a big fight. We've been waiting for the comeback of Darren Till for a very long time, and I don't know if he's got this one in the bag, I'll be honest with you, because Dricus Du Plessis is no joke. There are parts of me that believe that on the feet, Darren Till should get the better of Dricus Du Plessis in a 3-round bout. We saw how long Dricus took to get going in the Brad Tavares bout, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Darren Till, say what you want about his grappling game and his commitment to the game in general and stuff like that. He's clearly got really good striking, really good distance management, really good range control, and he can time guys coming in on him pretty easily as well. So I believe he can land the good shots that he needs to on Dricus Du Plessis. But there are a different type of shots that he needs to worry about. First of all, he needs to worry about looping weird, angled, crazy, unorthodox punches that could KO you at any moment that Dricus Du Plessis has in his game. Like, he has really weird stand-up at awkward angles, really long arms. He's got massive KO power as well. But there's different shots. There's the shot of the takedown that I don't know if Darren Till is going to be able to stuff, because Dricus Du Plessis, in my opinion, took on his toughest test of his entire career in Brad Tavares. That was the guy that should have beaten him, and I picked Dricus Du Plessis to win that matchup anyway. I said he was going to get him down, end up on top with a guillotine, pull the guillotine, roll Tavares to the ground with him and stuff like that, and I thought he would be able to get past the takedown defense of Brad Tavares. He wasn't able to get past the takedown defense of Brad Tavares, and still he ended up pushing when he needed to, winning the end of the second round, which gave him the second round, and then winning the third round dominantly as well, landing massive shots on Tavares. Can Darren Till stuff the takedowns? And if he's thinking about stuffing the takedowns, can he take the shots on the chin that might come up instead? I'm worried, and I do believe that Dricus Du Plessis is going to win this fight by submission, and I think he'll win this fight by submission in like the second round or something like that. I think he'll get down Darren Till in the first, have some moments on top, but not quite get the finish that he wants. Maybe early on in the first round, Darren Till will have some moments on the feet and land some good shots, but then towards the end, he'll lose it based on a takedown. And I think once Dricus knows that he can pick up Till and take him down, I think then he's going to start looking to do it in the second round. And I think he'll find it in the second round and get the submission. So I'm going to go with Dricus Du Plessis. Second round, arm triangle, rear naked choke, something along these lines. Maybe even a mounted guillotine, who knows. You can just look at the two bodies that they have. And I know people in MMA have different body types. I completely understand. Look at the two of their bodies. Who is taking MMA seriously? Darren Till didn't look like he had a single amount of muscle on him in the Derek Brunson fight. He just looked like a random guy out there who was really good at martial arts, don't get me wrong, and really good at striking. But that's like, you know, that's a really regular-ass body that he had in that fight. And I'm really questioning the commitment to the game and maybe even the shape that he possibly can get into with the injuries that he's now suffered, because that can prevent you from getting into that best shape that you've been in, like he was against Stephen Thompson, like he was against Donald Cerrone when he had the 8-pack and he was shredded. If he was cutting from, like he said, 205 pounds to make that weight at 170, and he was looking that shredded, why not just pack on a couple of pounds of muscle, Till, and not cut so much weight? And then fight at 185 and be over 200 pounds like most of the 185 pounders are. I feel as though he's going to lose this one. I really do. I think Dricus Du Plessis has got this one in the bag. He's big, he's strong, and I think he's going to be able to muscle around Darren Till. And I don't think it comes down to technique of takedown defense. Although I do believe Darren Till should outstrike him as long as they're on the feet. I think he's just going to be too strong for Till. Pick him up, chuck him down, and do what he wants with him on the ground, in all honesty. Dricus Du Plessis is a weirdly strong man. I would rather have Till have had maybe 5 rounds to deal with this. Maybe then there would be an argument of like, you know, can he survive the first few rounds of danger with Du Plessis? And we saw Du Plessis really huffing and puffing in the 3rd round against Brad Tavares, but he still pushed through. But still, he was really tired in that 3rd round. So maybe then you could argue, if Du Plessis uses all his strength going for a submission and Till survives, Till could go into the later rounds and win this one there, like he was almost doing against Derek Brunson. But this ain't good for Darren Till, and I'm not picking him. So, Darren Till, he's going to lose. We'll see if he wins. If he does, I'll be happy for him, but I'm not liking this matchup for him at all. Moving on. If he wins, though, Marvin Vettori matchup right there, main event, or on the main card of that UFC pay-per-view in England that's coming next year. Moving on to another fight. Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. A massive matchup at UFC 281, the pay-per-view in November, in MSG, with Adesanya versus Pereira in the main event. It's a 3-rounder. I'm feeling Poirier's going to win this, because I've been watching a lot of their fights, because this one's been rumoured to be in the works for quite some time now. I feel like Poirier's going to win this, because Poirier has got really underrated boxing skill. You know, like he was dropping Oliveira in their fight that they had. He's very composed. You can obviously say he did better against Oliveira than Gaethje did, because he put Oliveira down and he still stayed composed and won that round pretty convincingly rather than getting finished, and stayed defensively aware and didn't get clipped by any massive shots by Oliveira in round 1 other than some knees to the body and a couple of like glancing blows here and there that seemed to stumble him. But he was okay. He's got a good chin. I feel as though he can take the shots of Michael Chandler. I also believe his striking defense has gotten way better recently. And I think if Tony Ferguson's catching you and rocking you and putting you down in the 1st round on the feet, I feel like Dustin Poirier is going to be able to hurt him as well and put him down and rock him badly. And I think once Chandler's been rocked, I think we're going to see a lower chance of him being able to land those shots on Poirier. Because let's be real, although the front kick KO over Tony Ferguson was a good one, that doesn't happen the majority of times those two fight each other. Let's be real, there must have been a bit of panic in Michael Chandler's mind, like, oh God, we're going into the 2nd round with Tony Ferguson here, the 3rd round with Tony Ferguson maybe coming up soon. Like, there must have been it seemed like the tide was shifting in Ferguson's favour immediately into that fight, from what the odds suggested the fight should look like. So I feel as though Michael Chandler's going to get hurt by Poirier early, and then once he's already concussed, it's going to lower his chance to get into his groove in the fight and settle in like he did against Dan Hooker, where he could just bully him around. I think Poirier's too slick with the hands, and I think he's going to hurt Chandler early, put him down. You got to consider the age of Chandler. I know he's new to the UFC, but he's still an older guy, so injuries are going to come into it. Same with Dustin Poirier, though, so, you know, I just feel as though Poirier's got more of a dog in him than Michael Chandler. So I reckon he'll be able to land shots often, hard, putting down Chandler, and I reckon we might even see like a late 1st round finish or a 2nd round finish. I may change my mind. This is one of those fights where the odds might be able to whisper to me, whisper in my kind of language, the money-making language, and maybe be able to sway my mind, because I'm thinking right now about the takedowns of Michael Chandler. He could end up... I know Poirier stays relatively safe on the ground with his opponents. At least he did in round 2 against Charles Oliveira. But I'm worried that maybe Chandler does take him down and beat him up, because Alvarez was on his way to doing that against Poirier before, you know, Alvarez went for that 12-6 shot that landed on Poirier's shoulder, which was a weird situation. But yeah, I'm going to go with Poirier catching Chandler early and often in a firefight of a fight, and getting this one done. I believe in Dustin Poirier here. We move on to another topic, which is, again, something that broke a couple of days ago. Official, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Man, this is a good one. And I feel as though I've already spoken about this in terms of a prediction. Apparently it's an 8-rounder. So I might go with like a draw or an Anderson Silva win, unless Jake Paul's improved that much. But I will say this. I'm really annoyed by fan reactions to Jake Paul. They're so stupid and dumb and NPC brained. It really does annoy me. You know what I mean? Like, Jake unanimous. Like, you look at some, please don't fix this fight. Please don't fix this. You know what that tells me from this stupid NPC of a fan on the Full Violence Instagram page? We ain't gonna, no, that's not him. This guy here, please don't fix this fight for fuck's sake. You know what that means? Please don't let Jake Paul win. If Anderson Silva wins, it'll conveniently not be rigged for this guy. But if Jake Paul's losing and finds a KO blow out of nowhere, it'll all of a sudden be rigged to this guy. They really can't take Jake Paul. It's crazy to me how people just can't put it aside and recognize he's fighting Anderson Silva. That's such a great, great opponent for him. And people are saying stuff like, wow, still not fighting a boxer. If he was fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he would get so much respect. Why does he not get respect for fighting the guy who beat him just recently? Anderson Silva's a legit boxer. He is, I'll say it, a pro boxer. I don't understand why these people can't get into their heads about Jake Paul. Do I believe Silva might edge out a decision? I believe so. If Jake Paul wins, good for him. You know what I mean? It'll be a great win to have. Anderson Silva is no joke. But people out there just completely, another old man. Still not fighting boxers, I see. This is Anderson Silva. People all of a sudden have no idea how boxing works at the lower levels. Look at the people Floyd Mayweather was fighting this early on into his pro career. And he had hundreds of amateur bouts, Olympic level fights in the amateurs. I don't understand why people just can't get it into their heads. Jake Paul is fighting a legit guy here. This is Anderson Silva, by the way. A good fighter. A really, really good fighter. I know the Tito Ortiz fight is whatever. But Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., as a pro boxer, is currently 53-6 and has since bounced back with a win after the loss to Anderson Silva. Hello? I know he fell off a bit, but he went to a decision with Canelo Alvarez. And Daniel Jacobs. He fought him. He's been in there with levels of opponents. And at one point had a crazy good record. So, like, Jake Paul's fighting a guy who beat him. A 53-6 pro boxer. Who sure might be over the hill himself. But that is... Do not compare this with Daniel Pineda and Swarms. This is a legit... I would never take a fight with Anderson Silva in a boxing ring. Never in my life. Massive respect to Jake Paul. This is an absolute dangerous test. If it looks rigged, so obviously, and he wins, I'll call it how it is. But if he just wins, do not just immediately, over the hill, never fought a pro boxer. He's fighting a person who beat someone who went to a decision with Canelo Alvarez and was at the point in his career to even contest against a guy like Canelo Alvarez. He's that level of opponent in boxing. To where Canelo would even see him as a threat, or see him as a challenge, or see him as a fight to happen. I shouldn't have said threat or challenge. See him as a fight that should happen next. He was a top-level boxer, a guy who right now, or before he fought Anderson Silva, had a record of 52-5 was his record. Anderson Silva beat him. So, like, let's stop with this, like, only fighting old men, never fighting pro boxers. Like, I don't know why people do this to me. They make me side with Jake Paul. Annoying, man. Really, really annoying. If Silva loses, then I know this shit is rigged. It's just how it is, isn't it? That's just the fucking world. But yeah, respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Darren Till's probably going to lose. And also, I reckon Poirier wins. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.